So the Acclaim were part of the 1980s pre-promos for Collision this week. And the way they did it just transported me back in time. Plus we had Christian and Luchasaurus. And don't forget, he's a dinosaur. Now obviously he's a real dinosaur, but if we were to pretend that this was a gimmick, well, it just all comes together. So old school wrestling is back. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Monday morning. If you are watching this on the day that it goes live, even though technically it'll be Monday afternoon, depending on your time zone. My name is Simon Miller. I'm an idiot, but somehow I am allowed to give the good things that are up in professional wrestling and the bad things are down. But we always try and find the positive because there's too much negativity in the wrestling community on that there internet. Got up to speed? Alright, let's up those down. So AEW Collision has basically just embraced the whole, it's the opening Raw promo segment to kick off the damn thing. But Ricky Starks came out, and I don't know who decided to make changes to his character, but it's flubbing ruled. I mean, he even came out with the belt that he'd whipped Ricky Steamboat with last week and was like, ha, aren't I the greatest guy ever? When it turned out that he'd also been suspended for 30 days. But given that this is an in-ring 30-day suspension, he'd also gone out there and applied for his manager's license. Now I understand it is professional wrestling, but wouldn't AEW just go, well no, you can't do that. That's not allowed. I mean, that is like your mum telling you, oh, you're not allowed to eat cheese, and you go, don't worry, and you go and smash a pizza instead. I mean, imagine LeBron was suspended, but he just came out as a cheerleader. I don't think anybody would go for it. And Ricky Starks just kept going on here, because he still really hates CM Punk. I mean, he thinks that the blood is on his hands, and he also said that he's going to bring a war to his door. Now, one, what does that mean? And two, it rhymes, so it's got to be something good. He just came across like such a badass here, though, and so damn confident. And whatever we do plan to do with him next, I'm totally going to buy into it, and I'm totally going to believe it. Doesn't sound like he will be on All In, because again, he has been suspended, but maybe he'll screw over CM Punk versus Samoa Joe, or maybe he'll beat the manager for Joe. There's lots of options. The point is this, his momentum is back, let's send him to the moon, giving it up. We kept this joy going because we had a video focusing on the fact that we are getting FTR versus the Young Bucks at Wembley for the AEW Tag Team titles. As a quick aside, over the weekend, everyone's been going, oh man, I don't like the AEW All-In card. Where? Now look, you're allowed to think whatever the hell you think, and if you don't like it, well yeah, again, that's your prerogative. But are we forgetting it's going to be 80,000 people in a stadium going crazy? I don't care if Kenny Omega goes out there and plays checkers, I'm gonna have a damn good time. When my children came together. What? But it was the Acclaim versus the Iron Savages, and I've told you time and time again, I love Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, but also I love the Iron Savages, especially because they came out with Jack Jameson. If you've been watching Ring of Honor, these three rock. The Acclaimed also came out with Billy Gunn's boots, because of course that's how they're paying respect to the man, which is still very, very odd, when they were doing their big opening rap battle and they were going to talk to Daddy Ass. Of course, Daddy Ass is not there anymore. Do you know why this is a historic day? Because at no point in time have you ever been able to say Daddy Ass wasn't here anymore. Now amazingly, even though these savages used to be bears, the Acclaim was still able to take Bronson down with a damn shoulder tackle. But then Boulder is in there, and he's even bigger, so he just started smashing fools. And I tell you, be they bears or be they Iron Savages, at some point, I think we can do something with these guys. They got it. My real problem is that Boulder followed this up by doing like this double team move where he slammed one and he gave the other one a Samoan drop. But I was looking at him going, well, you're not Samoan, so that was just a drop. Caster then avoided a splash, which was good for him because that probably would have killed him when he got the tag to Anthony Bowens, and you won't believe this, I mean it must be a first in professional wrestling, he ran wild. Boulder was having none of this though, so he flapjacked his ass when Bronson was back, and then they were just dishing out double face busters. I felt like it was it too, but Max Caster broke it up at the 1-2, oh my gosh, he made it. At that point, it was obvious. I mean, kind of anyway, because at one point, Caster had to kick Anthony out the way so these two wouldn't finish him off, when he also picked up Bronson, gave him a DVD. It was very impressive. Jameson was then casting distractions, so for all of that, he got hit with the Scissor Me Timbers, which made me chuckle, when these two, knowing about how poetry works, hit them with double famouses, and they got the win. So I do hope we get some much needed direction for these guys afterwards, and really whoever does win between FTR and the Young Bucks should take on the Acclaimed, but as always, they have found their niche, they know what they're doing, they're always a joy, giving it up. They also teased this as well because they said on Wednesday they will be wrestling and the spirit of Daddy Ass will be with them. So there's another sentence. We are in brand new times. Lexi Nair was then in the back and she was ready to interview Bullet Club Gold. And there's two things I want to say. The first of which is that Bullet Club Gold get better every single week. But two, so does Lexi Nair. She was so good in this segment. I think she's onto something. Jay White said that they were the most elite version of the Bullet Club yet, and that was definitely a play on words. Especially because then he started talking about the elite and said they were a bunch of goobers. Wow. That's mostly because they are part of a group that are walking around saying they have the best brother tag team, but that's not true because the Guns are now in Bullet Club Gold, and obviously Austin and Colton are the best brother tag team. Therefore, this match is now happening on Wednesday, which is kind of interesting, especially when you tie into the fact that apparently Bullet Club Gold are going to be taking on Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi come the London show in All In. Now, again, this is one of those things that people have been very, very upset about. If I had told you back in 2019 that this was going to happen, you would have done a dance of joy and slapped me in the face, because you would have thought, Simon, you lying. Well, I'm not. It's happening. Well, maybe. We don't know, but let's just not get too ahead of ourselves. And we also then got another video for MJF versus Adam Cole, which of course will headline the thing, but also is going to happen during the pre-show, because they're having a tag team match. I mean, I think we are in for a right roller coaster. Just to stamp our positive Pete nature, I'm giving all of this an up. Doesn't even deserve an up. I'm out of control. And then we tied up some loose ends from last week. Nice, because after they all basically helped and screwed each other over, it was Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale taking on Mercedes Martinez and Diamante. And I suppose eventually, this will become like a little feud for the TBS title. Diamante and Statlander started so the champion could get a little bit of revenge for 7 days ago, which she did with a crossbody. When Willow tagged in, she did a crossbody. Well, didn't realise it was crossbody Saturday. Martinez then helped her would-be friend because she got her out of the way of a pounce when Diamante was like, "Ah, sweet, I didn't get murked," and she started booting people right in the face. I mean, why not? It also meant that they were working together, so I was like, that's flubbing teamwork. When Mercedes tried to lock on the Paradise Lock, I think it was called, or words to that nature. I was like, man, that just sounds like a nice holiday destination. Nightingale eventually got thrown to the outside too, which was no good, but when she got back in the ring, she started wiggling, jiggling to get out of the way of all these maneuvers when she hit that spine buster as a thing of beauty. He also came up with this really good idea, because he was like, well, I have been a little bit beaten up right now. What if I make my hand really warm and hit Chris's hand? What's gonna happen? We got a hot tag and she ran wild. Statlander also got in there and murked everyone. When from nowhere, Nightingale must have taken a Phoenix down, because then these two were doing teamwork, because they hit double sentons, when Mercedes was just so obsessed with throwing people into each other, so she just kept doing it over and over again. Human projectiles. I mean, she even did it with her own partner, Diamante, to use her like a bullet. And I was like, well, I suppose if it works, why the flub not? This obviously signaled the tag klaxon, so everybody was in there having a massive scrap when Mercedes was like, screw this, I'm gonna hit the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. And after Diamante helped her, they stole the pin. So bring it down, it goes up by 1. Don't you come into my house and say this isn't the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. It certainly is. It wins all the time. I actually thought this was quite good and it allowed everybody to get a little bit of a showcase, which is one of the benefits of Collision. And now we come out the other side and we can start doing some program battles for that TBS title. That's what Kris Statlander needs right now. Just needs some story that she can get her teeth into. Whatever that means. I'd tell you as well, this new Toni Storm character is excellent. It has come out of nowhere, but she is now basically this down on her luck actress celebrity. When she was being interviewed, she was like, man, don't really want to talk about it, I'm a sad panda. She also called the rest of the women's division backstabbing little girls, although she is excited about the upcoming pay-per-view, because of course, not only is she in the world title match, but her good pal Soraya's gonna be there too. Lexi Nair, who was great here too, was also then like, you do know she'd have qualified for that as well. This is when Tony freaked out, stormed off, and then threw a shoe at Lexi Nair. So we gotta keep doing this. And if we can adapt it to her in-ring style as well, I'm going to be a very, very happy person. Because I love it when you can get goofy wrestling and serious wrestling and combine it, giving it an up. It was entertaining. When we got a murder on Collision, surprise, surprise, by Samoa Joe. Because he was taking on Andrew Everett, and look, while Andy did get a few things in there, this was basically booked to be a squash. And at one point, Samoa Joe did the, nope thing when he walks away. So Andrew did this flip, and Samoa turned around, just killed him with this lariat, locked in the Coquina clutch. Guy was done. He was so pissed as well because he had told CM Punk last week he wanted an answer for the Wembley show, and now that he hasn't got it, he's going to take business into his own hands. And I just need to say this. There is nothing I can do that can justify this promo. Samoa Joe was just spitting fire, and it got me so damn pumped, he still rules. So once again, this is going to be going down in London, which is why I just do not understand what people are so upset about. Samoa Joe is all time for me. Get it up. The joy of this show then continued as well, because out came the TNT champion Christian Cage and the real TNT champion Luchasaurus. Man, they were just having a whale of a time. They did remind us that the dinosaur had wrecked Darby Allin so bad on Rampage that a little guy was crying, but do not forget everything that Luchasaurus has been through. His family were killed millions and millions of years ago. Why do you think he's so mad? Christian then talked to the North Carolina crowd and were like, man, you're number 2 at everything. I mean, look at Michael Jordan before he said he was the greatest thing ever, even better than Ric Flair. You could imagine the reaction to that. He then talked about Allin never being the TNT champion as long as he holds the belt. When he's like, no, I mean we hold the belt. Which is when Brock and Arn Anderson came out, which kind of makes sense because all these guys have fallen out before. And Arn was like, listen, lizard man, whatever he calls Luchasaurus, you do know you're the champion. What are you doing? I should also point out as well, actually, before that, Christian said to Darby Allin, you have said before that you paint half your face because you feel half dead inside. Well, when we next fight, I'll paint the other half and I will finish the job. So there's the crime counter. You can't say things like that. That's not allowed. You get arrested. Goes up by 1. Christian did laugh off the fact that the Andersons were here, which is when we got Brock versus Luchasaurus, and once again, Brocky Boy got a little things in here, but eventually Luchasaurus hit him with the choke slam and the big lariat to the back of the head to get the 1, 2, 3, when Darby Allin turned up with his skateboard and he basically did an ollie off a dinosaur's back. I mean, wrestling just gives you everything. He also got a microphone afterwards. It was all like, oh, Luchasaurus, I bet in the billions of years you've been on this planet, no one's ever done that to you. And Luchasaurus started to shout, it's millions, it's millions. I was dying inside. This guy is so much better than we give him credit for. So once again, it's the perfect mix of goofy wrestling and serious wrestling. And I know this is happening at All Out, but it's actually a match I want to see. Christian's doing great work, Darby's always good, Luchasaurus, he ticks the massive old box. I enjoyed the Andersons here, so I got nothing to complain about. Up. When the powers that be must have read my wrestling journal and said, let's make all of Simon's dreams come true. I mean, I don't have a wrestling journal. Probably just forget that. But anyway, Powerhouse Hobbs came out and he was really mad because a week or so ago, QT Marshall had offered him a match for All Out, and maybe he didn't capitalize on that opportunity as much as he should have done. So he had gone home and he had read from the Book of Hobbs because he loves that thing, and he started to realize, well, I haven't done very well recently and I need some redemption. And the only way to redeem yourself is to beat the Redeemer, so Miro, get your ass out of here. I started going crazy. My body just started wiggling and jiggling, because not only do I love Powerhouse Hobbs, I flubbing love Miro, and this is also 2 big men slapping man meat. Miro didn't wait around either, because he did march to the ring, which when he got drumped by Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto, because of course they're part of QTTV, just QTV, I don't know why I threw another T in there, which is when Miro fought them off, got in the ring, and got smashed with a spine buster. And we're doing this at All Out. Now, I'm going to be a hypocrite and a negative Nancy, because I was like, man, please do it at All In. But who cares? I don't care if I get ice cream on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as long as I get to put that cream of ice into my mouth. Also, who wins this? What do? I love Miro, I love Powerhouse Hobbs. This could be the very best thing we ever do in professional wrestling. Calm that thing down. I'm giving it an up. As you could probably tell, I'm very, very excited. We then got a reminder of a bunch of stuff that we are going to get on Dynamite, including Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta for the international title as that feud continues, and that will be a banger. And yeah, we're getting the Young Bucks versus the Guns. I'll also tune in to see it. It then meant we went to our main event as well, which was CM Punk and FTR taking on the House of Black for the Trios titles. And well, this rock. Punk as ever gets half boos and half cheers, which just means he's become the John Cena of AEW, and that is not a bad thing, and we just did every little thing that we should have done here. It's a very enjoyable ride. CMFTR also teamed up on Buddy Matthews to begin with, and they were thumping him. Just when Brody King tagged in, he was like, nah, man, you ain't doing that to my pal. And he just ran through all of them. This guy's so good. Dax Harwood is no fool, though, so he realised, well, you're quite big, so I'm going to smash you in the knee and chop you down to size, which is when Cash Wheeler and CM Punk were also there. and they basically threw him to the outside, which is what you need to do, because when Brody gets going, he's basically death. It also opened up the opportunity to get the face-off that people had wanted to see, which was CM Punk and Malachi Black. They did this great sequence where Punk went for the go to sleep, but Malachi got out of that, so he went for the kick, so Punk fell down into that seated position, and then they looked at each other. I was just clapping. The tag klaxon then went off quite early, so everyone got in there and started fighting, and they especially went after Harwood, when eventually he hit a DDT, he got the tag to Punk, CM got in there, he booted Malachi Black in the head. What's happening? Julia Hart then started casting distraction, which actually was quite justified here, because CM Punk had been going after her on social media all week, and because it meant CM's testicles went right into the top rope because he got crotched, all of a sudden, he was the damsel in distress. King was then back, and he just cannonballed the shib out of CM Punk, and I will admit maybe this went a little bit too long. Not every single main event on Collision has to be 30 minutes, but it was still just so damn fun, especially when Buddy got in there. He started to go crazy, and he got hit with a GTS. That basically acted as a last gasp move as well, which allowed Punk to tag Cash in there, and I tell you, this Wheeler, he is an underrated hot tag. This dude can go. I mean, he hit this huge dive and bulldog when all of a sudden Brody had taken some kind of power pack or MP, because he was back and he grabbed FTR and he was throwing him around again. Punk then balanced this out because he did come off the top with the big elbow when we were re-taught a lesson that we already know: you don't piss off Samoa Joe. It rhymed. Because after all three of CMFTR had hit the Shatter Machine, all of a sudden there was this big noise in the crowd when the camera cut to the audience and Samoa Joe clearly had snuck out there, pulled CM Punk over barricade. He was just choking him out. So he was trying to kill him. Now obviously FTR were like, no, our buddy, our friend, what are we going to do? When Brody King absolutely slammed Dax Harwood with a lariat and the House of Black won. I was like, flubbing oodle alley. Surely this does mean that we are going to do Punk and Joe now, because he just cost him a victory. So we got 2 weeks until all of that. And again, this was just such a well put together match. Everybody just knows their spots and their timing is spot on, which was a stupid sentence of me to say. So I am giving it an up. And I know, I get it, at first we didn't actually see Samoa Joe sneak out there, but you also had to keep an eye on the action happening in the ring. So I'll mention it because people have mentioned it to me. Maybe that's something we can iron out. Did it affect my enjoyment? No, it didn't. Which of course brought us to the end of AEW Collision, and look, I will say this one wasn't as, oh my gosh, as some of the Apple episodes, but it still did the job. And also, look man, Luchasaurus was doing stuff, Miro was doing stuff, Powerhouse Hobbs was doing stuff. These are my boys, man. These are my boys, Blue. I can't get over that. Now please do leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about AEW Collision over the weekend, and let me know what you thought of SmackDown, because look, there's a video, you're not going to believe it, it's ups and downs for SmackDown. Then do please like the video, share the video and subscribe, head over to whatculture.com, follow us on social media, but more importantly than that, just enjoy your day, enjoy your wrestling, get pumped for All In, get pumped for All Out, get pumped for Payback. Who the flub cares, man? Wrestling is great and you can inject it into your veins. Thank you very much, shouldn't have bowed, goodbye.